exciting weekend here. Obviously, doubleheader lacrosse. Get the Wahoo women and ourselves playing, and we're both celebrating One Love, an organization that's incredible for building better and healthier relationships. So we're honored to be able to wear the T-shirts and to represent One Love, a tremendous organization run by former women's lacrosse coach Julie Myers. On the field, wow, the 100th time, and what a tremendous rivalry. And also playing for another great person, Doyle Smith. You know, the Doyle Smith Cup is something we're desperate to have return and stay home here for the following 365 days in Charlottesville. But we know we have a formidable opponent who is going to make that a difficult task. It's it's always something special to be on the field as a coach, as a player, as a fan when you got the Blue Jays and Cavaliers.
Yeah, just with that 100th game between you guys, how much does this rivalry mean to both of the programs, but also just college lacrosse in general?
It means a tremendous amount to both programs. You know who it really means to is the alumni. For the past generations of lacrosse players and coaches who wore the Virginia uniform, this is maybe the biggest game of the year. And because of the legacy of Hopkins lacrosse, Hopkins was the greatest team, you know, for many, many decades there. And so for our alumni, this was always the game. And so I hear from more alumni this week than any other week.
What are some of the challenges that you see in this year's Hopkins team for you guys?
Certainly starts on the offensive end. A very talented group. They feed the ball incredibly well. We're a team that has a lot of assists with our goals scored. They are very accurate with their feeding, and their stick work is sophisticated and slick. So it's a really, really talented offensive team coming to Charlottesville on Saturday.
Griff's won about half of his face-offs so far this year, or at least in the last two games. Because he's kind of the first year, what has you and your staff kind of told him to try and get that number up and really kind of get used to this collegiate level of face-offs?
Yeah, it's different in college because of the scouting. If you come out hot the first couple games, now the opposition is going to spend a lot more time dialing in on what your strengths are and how to counter and neutralize those strengths. So when you're a first-year face-off man who has scored a couple goals already and is winning a good share of face-offs, he's going to be really, really well scouted by each of our opponents. And so I'm sure he will have to now recognize that his first move, there might be a neutralizing counter to it. Does he have a second move? And so you start recognizing whether you're an offensive attackman, a face-off specialist, whatever it is. If you're that good, they're going to take away your first move. What's your next move?
And last game, you were able to, defend all 5 of Stony Brook's man-up opportunities. What kind of work defensively to make sure that they didn't get that opportunity?
Yeah, I know Logan Greco, our defensive coordinator, did really well putting our men in the right spot, and then the men executed the game plan well. We were able to take away what we thought Stony Brook's strengths were. Going into this one, Johns Hopkins has even more strengths. Johns Hopkins has, because of the ability to feed the ball so well and how much heat they bring with their shooting, this will be a greater task. But yeah, that was huge for us to, keep a team 0-for-5 on the man-up opportunities, because we want to play an aggressive style. We aren't a physical team. We're going to earn some penalties. I think we're better when we earn a few penalties, and so our man-down efficiency is critical.
And my last question is, you were able to get that 100th career win here against Stony Brook, a team that you had coached. What was that moment like? And I mean, how does it feel to kind of be among those three coaches? The two?
Yeah, it was really a surprise, to tell you the truth. As I was running out of the Laval Stadium, somebody from the Stony Brook administration said something, and I said, "No, come on, yeah, really?" And so it was a nice surprise. And then 10 minutes later, when we broke it down as a team, give Coach Cassis credit. He highlighted it, and the whole team celebrated, threw water on me, and so that was a special moment.
That's awesome.
And tell me about just the specialness of the rivalry and playing up at Klockner. What is Saturday going to be like? Take away the X's and O's and everything. What is Hopkins in Virginia from a visceral standpoint?
It is a really good question, Ryan. The visceral, that is really accurate. Sometimes the first 5, maybe even 10 minutes of game time in games like this, you don't really recognize your team because there's so much juice and excitement. You kind of revert back to the younger self that was a little bit more wild and untamed and unprogrammed to run certain offenses and defenses. And it's you could certainly imagine that we could see that on Saturday, because I mean, we got an incredible day planned with the weather there, and a great opponent and a tremendous rivalry. So yeah, the emotions will be sky high. My job will be to ensure that the Virginia team, that 10 minutes of chaos becomes maybe 2 minutes of chaos, and then we get back to our game plan.
Against Stony Brook, Brendan Millen had 5 goals, 2 assists, obviously just a freshman. So when you got him out there, just what does he bring for you guys and the impact he has out there? And just what do you think his ceiling could be just this season alone?
Right. I was just talking to Brendan yesterday and saying, hey, you've played 3 lacrosse games, and hopefully you're going to wear that Virginia uniform for 70, 75 games. And you're off to a great start. Just 3 games in, you're proving that you can be a tremendous feeder. He's great vision. He's someone you want to play with, because if you're open, he's going to find you. But then to be able to also score goals as well. So now when the defense says, hey, just guard him and don't leave anyone open, well, if he can win his matchup and come around from behind the goal or dodge off the wing and score himself, now he's really, really dangerous. And so it's really, really fortunate that we have him here, and he's off to a tremendous start. And it's really fun to watch him and his brother play together, especially when they feed each other for a goal and assist.
How would you characterize Coach Schellenberger's impact so far, especially heading into Hopkins?
It's a great question off that last one, because Coach Schellenberger is really spending a lot of time individually with our offensive players. And Coach Schellenberger is a very intentional player himself. While he was an undergraduate here and while he now is a professional with the New York Atlas, there's a lot of great athletes who just do it without thinking much about it. That's not Connor. Connor's a great athlete, a great lacrosse player, but he's the MVP of the professional league because he's also intentional. He's really thinking about his next move, or his next, and how he sets up his roll dodge to get his hands free. Because he's so thoughtful and intentional, he can now be a tremendous coach, because he's really, there's been purpose behind his moves. So now he works with our 2 Millens, with Truitt, with Chase Band, with all of our guys, and he can really help unlock their potential to a higher level, and we're seeing it happen. And it's probably best exemplified by how many assists we have in our 3 games.
Nice. And how would you say the Olympic Sports Center has impacted the team so far?
Oh my gosh,
Recruiting experience, team culture.
Certainly helps recruiting, team culture. I'll just say efficiency, and that's the biggest one. We're not like running over to the trailers and then running back to the office and, hey, where's the meeting space today? I don't know. The other thing that's most valuable is the time together. I go downstairs, I see guys walking through the hallway. I go to the training room, there they are. There's leftovers downstairs at nutrition for a snack, and the number of unplanned, sort of organic touch points and meetings makes us much more bonded and much more united fronts. That's been the biggest advantage.